Today I'm going to be teaching you about transition words and glue words, and they are not exactly the same, and you're going to learn the difference. First, we'll start so we have an understanding of transition words. So, conjunctive adverbs. Conjunctive adverbs are parts of speech that are used to connect one clause to another. They are also used to show sequence, contrast, cause and effect, and other relationships, which sounds just like transition words. So why use the term transition words rather than conjunctive adverbs? So there are some phrases that consist of 2 to 3 words rather than just one word, as we will see in the following chart that I show you. These are not technically conjunctive adverbs, but because of their meanings and use, which is super important, they are classed together with conjunctive adverbs. We use the term transition words because it more clearly shows the role that these conjunctive adverbs and phrases play in sentences. The chart should look familiar to you. These are transition words. And main clauses may be connected by conjunctive adverbs, or as we call them, transition words. And we know that different transition words express different types of relationships between one main clause and another one. So we have words for contrasting, such as however, nonetheless, in fact, on the contrary. Transition words for addition, in addition, additionally, similarly, also. Result, consequently, thus, hence, as a result. Time sequence, then, afterward, meanwhile, and condition, otherwise. And these words are probably very familiar to you already. So, is the sentence position for transition words and phrases fixed the way it is for coordinators such as and? Transition words can occur in 3 different positions: at the beginning, in the middle, and at the end of a main clause. So, for example, transition words and phrases, again, can occur in 3 positions, as you can see here: at the beginning, the middle, and end of a main clause. The punctuation of the transition words and phrases differs according to their according to their position. When they occur at the beginning of the main clause, they may be preceded by either a period or a semicolon, as shown in the first 2 sentences. She went to bed at 9 p.m., semicolon. However, comma, her sister did not come home until the next day. Or, she went to bed at 9 p.m., period. However, notice it's capitalized, comma, her sister did not come home until the next day. If you look at sentence 3, when transition words occur in the middle of a main clause, they are offset by commas. So she went to bed at 9 p.m. Her sister, comma, however, did not come home until the next day. And then the last sentence, sentence 4, when they occur at the end of a main clause, they are also preceded by a comma. Her sister did not come home until the next day, comma, however, period. So you can type this in the chat. In which positions can transition words and phrases occur? Good. So just as a review, when they occur at the beginning of a main clause, they may be preceded by either a period or a semicolon, as shown in the first 2 sentences. When they occur in the middle of a main clause, as shown in the 3rd sentence, they are offset by commas. And when they occur at the end of a main clause, they are also preceded by a comma. So just to be clear, give an example sentence with a transition word or phrase occurring in the middle position. Be sure to use the right punctuation, so you can go ahead and type that right into the chat. I know this was a burning question for all of you. Why have you all seen different punctuation used with transition words and phrases? Well, there are stylistic variations to these guidelines, and there's no complete agreement among different books. So, ESL learners should be encouraged to follow the basic punctuation guidelines in their textbook and try not to confuse them with tons of different rules. So what kinds of problems do ELs have with transition words and phrases? So these transition words occur mostly in formal written English, so they're not always exposed to the use and meanings of these words. Also, some inexperienced native speakers aren't exposed to these words and their meanings, so that can be confusing. There are also subtle differences in the meanings of similarly categorized transition words and phrases, so they need to practice in order to understand and practice using different transition words and different phrases. And again, this should be something that you're familiar with. Different types of sentences. So I'm going to explain these different types of sentences so that when we talk later, you have an understanding. So a main clause is one that can stand alone as a complete sentence. For example, Hannah likes chocolate, which is true. The next type of sentence is a compound sentence, and that's when two sentences are combined with and, but, nor, so, or, yet, or for. And a good way to help your students remember this is to use Fanboys, the acronym. And if you ever saw Conjunction Junction from Schoolhouse Rock, this should be familiar to you. So an example sentence, Hannah likes chocolate, comma, but doesn't always buy it, which is also true. Next is a complex sentence. And clauses that need to be attached to another clause are called subordinate clauses. Main clause, subordinate clause. For example, Hannah likes to eat chocolate after she exercises at the gym, which is actually a false statement. Although I guess I would like to, but I try not to. Okay, moving on. So here are some examples of these types of sentences and a chart to help you understand how they're structured. So I walk home, which is a simple main clause. Subject, verb, and complement. The second one is a compound sentence. I walked home and I called my mother. Those are two main clauses joined together by the coordinating conjunction and. And the third sentence, I walked home after I called my mother. There's a main clause, a subordinator, which is after, and the second main clause. It's important to note that the second part, after I called my mother, cannot stand alone. It needs to be attached to a main clause. The word after is a subordinator, therefore making this a complex sentence. So, in the chat, write a compound sentence. I mentioned glue in the beginning, which is maybe a new concept for you. Glue is another way to think about main clauses, subordinate clauses, and the use of subordinators, and to think of these subordinators as glue. So if we think of two pieces of paper, like this image here, that we want to put together, they won't stick unless we use glue. In complex sentences, similarly, if we don't have grammatical glue to join two subject-noun phrases and verb phrases together, we don't have complete sentences. We can think about glue as a technique for eliminating fragments and run-ons. Most importantly, the number of glue words needs to be one less than the number of subject-noun phrases plus verb phrases. And I'm going to show you a chart of all the different glue words. In other words, English sentences need one more subject-noun phrase and verb phrase than glue. So look at this first sentence. What's wrong with this sentence? After the little girl walked home. So there is one glue word, after, one subject-noun phrase, the little girl, and one verb phrase, walked. So the number of glue words is equal to the number of subject-noun phrases and verb phrases, 1. Therefore, this is not a grammatical sentence because there should be one more subject-noun phrase and one more verb phrase. Sentence 2. Dilma and Maria left because it was snowing. Now we have a complex sentence. There is one glue word, because, but there are two subject-noun phrases. Dilma and Maria, it, and two verb phrases, left and was snowing. Therefore, this is grammatically correct because the number of glue words is one less than the number of subject-noun phrases and verb phrases. So to end, I'm going to show you that these words are tricky, but they can be made into charts and memorized. So there are 5 types of glue, which I'm not going to teach you all about, but I will tell you the 5. 1. Joining glue. 2. Flipping glue. 3. WH glue. 4. Hidden glue. And 5. Combined glue. So here's a chart that has the different types of glue: joining, flipping, WH, hidden, and combined. And the chart shows the actual words that are the glue words, their position within a sentence, their punctuation, and an example. So I'm not going to go over that because it's a lot to get into, but know that this is a chart that can be memorized in order to understand what the words are, their position, and their punctuation. So yes, I'm saying you can use a chart. A common L error is that the student will use certain words as glue words when they really aren't, which is why you should use a chart and memorize them. For example, an ESL student might write, I went to the store, then I rode the bus. But then is not a glue word, so this sentence is actually a run-on. Then also can't use a semicolon. So to fix this sentence, if you want to keep then, instead write, I went to the store, period, then I rode the bus home. Or use a glue word. I went to the store, comma, and then I rode the bus home. By using and, you've kept the glue and added then for the meaning. So, in conclusion, here are some difficulties that English language learners might have. Els may not use the correct number of glue words. For example, because I went there late, or when you go home. Or they may add too many glue words. For example, even though I study hard, however, I still get low grades, which is one I see a lot. We can help by reminding students that there must always be one less glue word than noun phrase and verb phrase. Els and native speakers use words as glue when they aren't really glue words. When you say a sentence, it's not a run-on. It's only in writing that this matters, which is very tricky. Thank you.